McLaren. When a team wins both championships in the same year, you'd expect dominance to be their superpower. But McLaren's real hidden weapon in 2025 wasn't pure speed. It was their ability to let two drivers fight for the title without imploding. The Papaya rules became the most talked about team philosophy in modern F1. Andrea Stella coined the term, and it was simple. Don't crash into each other. Race fairly. Let the best driver win. Sounds easy until you realize Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri were separated by just 8 points at one stage, both fighting Max Verstappen for the championship. Most teams would have issued team orders by July. McLaren stuck to their guns. Norris won the Drivers' Championship by 2 points over Verstappen. Piastri led the standings for 15 rounds. McLaren wrapped up the Constructors' title with 6 races to spare. That's the superpower. Managing 2 elite drivers in a title fight and actually making it work. Ferrari tried it with Leclerc and Hamilton and fell apart. Red Bull gave up on having 2 competitive drivers years ago. McLaren proved you can have both and win with both. Red Bull, their superpower in 2025 wasn't their car. It was Max Verstappen doing things that shouldn't be possible. The RB21 was inconsistent all season. Christian Horner got fired mid-season, replaced by Laurent Mekies. Yuki Tsunoda and Liam Lawson combined couldn't match what Sergio Perez used to contribute. And yet, Verstappen nearly won the championship. He finished 2 points behind Norris after being 104 points down after the Dutch Grand Prix. Verstappen won 8 races in 2025. All 8 were his. Japan showed it best. He set the fastest lap in Suzuka history. Then came Brazil. He started 17th in the rain and won by nearly 20 seconds. Laurent Mekies said the world discovered an even more extraordinary Max in 2025 because when the car isn't dominant, Verstappen still finds a way to win. That's the superpower. One driver so good he made a third-place constructor car fight for the championship until the final race. Mercedes. Their team in 2025 had the most inconsistent car on the grid. Some weekends, it was untouchable. George Russell won in Canada and Singapore with dominant pace. Other weekends, it couldn't get out of Q2. And that inconsistency became their hidden superpower because it forced Russell to become the most adaptable driver of the season. Toto Wolff said it clearly. Some weekends the car was exceptional. Other weekends they couldn't control it, and Russell drove around it anyway. 2 wins, 9 podiums, 319 points, 4th in the championship. He outqualified Kimi Antonelli 20-3. He finished ahead of him in every single race they both completed. Mercedes never solved the W16's unpredictability. The engineers admitted they were surprised by how inconsistent the upgrades performed. Cool temperatures, the Merc flew. Hot conditions, it struggled. So Russell adapted. The superpower is maximizing unpredictability. Russell extracted championship-caliber performances from a car that wasn't his match. Mercedes finished second in the Constructors not because they built the second-best car, but because they had a driver who could handle anything. Ferrari. Their superpower in 2025 was the most controversial decision of the season. They stopped developing the SF25 in April. 4 months into the year, Fred Vasseur pulled the plug on aero updates and redirected everything to 2026. It was a massive gamble that left Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton fighting with a car that couldn't improve, while everyone else kept getting faster. Leclerc was furious in Qatar. He said the car had nothing. Hamilton called it a nightmare. His first season at Ferrari turned into one of the toughest of his career. 0 race wins, 0 podiums for Hamilton. John Elkann publicly criticized both drivers. Ferrari finished 4th, their worst result since 2020. But here's the thing, they don't care because the superpower isn't winning in 2025. It's sacrificing an entire season to dominate in 2026. While McLaren, Red Bull, and Mercedes were fighting for points in November, Ferrari had already moved on. Their entire operation was focused on the new regulations. Ferrari's superpower is the long game. They're betting that the sacrifice of 2025 will turn into championships from 2026 onward. It's brutal. It's risky. It's absolutely classic Ferrari. Williams. Their superpower in 2025 was James Vowles' brutal honesty and long-term planning. The team made a decision that shocked everyone. They stopped developing the FW47 early and openly admitted it. Vowles said, if that results in 6th or 7th in the championship, so be it. Most team principals would never say that publicly. Vowles did because he's building for 2026, not 2025. The superpower is transparency and conviction. Williams brought Carlos Sainz and Alex Albon together. one of the strongest midfield lineups on the grid. They scored 50 points in the first half of the season, nearly matching Sauber, Alpine, Aston Martin, Racing Bulls, and Haas combined. The car was genuinely quick in medium and high-speed corners. Then the upgrade stopped. Rivals closed in, but Vowles never wavered from the plan. He's not chasing short-term results. He's rebuilding Williams into a team that can fight at the front when the new regulations hit. The superpower is leadership with a clear vision. Vowles knows where Williams is weak, admits it publicly, and focuses resources where they'll have maximum impact. No false promises, no desperate development races, just calculated, ruthless planning for the future. Aston Martin, their superpower in 2025 was playing the longest game on the grid. Adrian Newey joined in March, but he had zero input on the 2025 car. His focus was entirely on 2026, so Aston Martin wrote off this season before it started. They finished lower than 2023 or 2024. Fernando Alonso carried the team on his back with experience and racecraft. Lance Stroll struggled. The car lacked development as everything went to next year's project. But here's the superpower. Aston Martin secured the greatest F1 designer in history, while everyone else was fighting for 2025 points. Teams like Mercedes, Ferrari, and Red Bull were pouring resources into current performance. Aston Martin sacrificed an entire year to give Newey time to build something special for 2026. It's the ultimate delayed gratification. Lawrence Stroll spent hundreds of millions building a new factory, a wind tunnel, and assembling a technical dream team. Then, he signed Newey and told him to ignore 2025 completely. The risk is massive. If 2026 doesn't deliver, the entire investment was wasted. But the potential payoff is championship contention from day one of the new regulations. That's the superpower, betting everything on one man's genius and giving him the resources to succeed. Alpine, their superpower in 2025 was somehow staying competitive despite absolute chaos. The team went through more internal drama than any other squad. Jack Doohan started the season, got replaced by Franco Colapinto mid-year after endless speculation. Team principal Oliver Oakes suddenly departed. The Renault power unit was the weakest on the grid, unreliable and underpowered. The car was strong in fast corners, but weak on traction and struggled over bumps. Pierre Gasly admitted that consistently finishing in the top 10 was pretty much not achievable, and yet Alpine kept scoring points. Gasly fought single-handedly to keep the team competitive. He's been called one of the stars of the midfield and a great team leader. The superpower is resilience. Most teams would have collapsed under that level of instability. Driver changes, leadership exits, power unit problems, car limitations. Alpine dealt with all of it and still finished 6th in the constructors. It's not pretty, it's not dominant, but it's survival against impossible odds. The fact that Alpine remained in the fight for midfield positions, while everything around them burned, shows organizational depth that doesn't get recognized. They're the cockroach of F1. You can't kill them. No matter how bad things get, they find a way to keep going. Haas, their superpower in 2025, was being the smallest team on the grid and still competing with operations 3 times their size. They have the lowest budget, the smallest staff, the least resources, and they finished 7th in the championship ahead of teams with far more money. The season started terribly. Aerodynamic oscillations at high-speed cost over half a second in Australia. Team boss Ayao Komatsu felt sick watching the data, but Haas responded. They brought upgrades in Japan and Imola that fixed the bouncing issues. The car transformed. Esteban Ocon and Ollie Behrman formed the new driver lineup dubbed Bear Con by fans. Behrman impressed immediately, taking points in only the second round. He drove from the pit lane to 6th at the Dutch Grand Prix and matched Haas's best ever result with 4th in Mexico. The superpower is maximizing limited resources. Haas can't outspend Ferrari or Mercedes. They don't have the facilities of McLaren or Red Bull, so they focus on efficiency and quick responses to problems. When the car had issues, they fixed them fast. When rookies needed support, they provided it. 7th in the championship might not sound impressive, but for the smallest team in F1, it's a testament to doing more with less. Sauber, their superpower in 2025, was turning embarrassment into respectability in one season. They were dead last in 2024, the slowest car by a mile. Then 2025 happened, and everything changed. The C45 was still a backmarker early on, tricky to drive, and 1.7% off the pace. Then came the Spanish Grand Prix in May. A floor upgrade transformed the season. The car became not only quicker, but far less peaky and more confidence-inspiring for Nico Hülkenberg and and Gabriel Bortoleto. Subsequent upgrades at the Red Bull Ring and Silverstone built on that foundation. Sauber became a regular point scorer. Hülkenberg grabbed a podium at Silverstone in the wet with a brilliantly executed race. Bortoleto picked up points in 3 of the last 4 races before the August break. The superpower is development trajectory. Sauber went from being lapped by the leaders to fighting for points in 6 months. They scored 70 points total, matching Haas' output. For a team transitioning to Audi ownership and focused heavily on 2026, that's remarkable progress. The combination of Hülkenberg's experience and Bortoleto's youthful potential proved to be a winner. Sauber bowed out by ensuring Audi comes in with a very strong platform to build from. That's the hidden superpower, turning a disaster into a foundation for future success. Racing Bulls, their superpower in 2025 was finding a diamond in Isaac Hadjar and leading the midfield more than anyone else. Not Haas, not Alpine, not Williams. Racing Bulls led the midfield pack more frequently than any other team. Hadjar finished level on points with Nico Hülkenberg, a veteran with over a decade of experience. He made regular Q3 appearances and converted 4th on the grid at the Dutch Grand Prix into a podium. Racing Bull's first since 2021. For a rookie in his first season, that's exceptional. Red Bull promoted him mid-season after Tsunoda got called to the main team. The superpower is youth development that actually works. Racing Bulls put an unknown driver in the car and watched him match experienced champions within months. They've done it before with Verstappen, Gasly, and Albon. But 2025 showed they can still do it, even when the spotlight isn't on them. While Red Bull struggled with their second seat, their junior team was quietly extracting maximum performance from a driver most people had never heard of. That's the hidden superpower, trusting young talent and giving them the platform to deliver immediately.